Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So one of the reasons why Donald Trump was able to not only win the 2024 election, but to also win by the margin that he did, and also even in some of the states he lost, perform extraordinarily well in for a Republican in places like New Mexico, New Jersey, etc., was because of party registration. And that means people who never voted before, they were registering to vote, and the signs were always there. They were registering mainly as Republicans at unprecedented levels. And the canary in the coal mine for Democrats that they choose to ignore, surprise, right, was the party registration data that was showing this. And the dam breaks past a certain point and you can't recover. We saw this in Florida in 2020. That's why Florida was one of the few states to move right. And we saw it pretty much everywhere in 2024. You cannot ignore that party registration data past a certain point. You look at a state like Pennsylvania, it's true that there were a lot of ancestral Democrats that were already voting Republican, becoming Republican, but past a certain point, and we've kind of passed that point already, it doesn't entirely matter. And when you see massive shifts everywhere and new registrations everywhere voting Republican, that should tell you that there's a problem. And that's why Pennsylvania swung to the right by over 200,000 raw votes, and registrations swung to the right by close to 400,000. So when you look at that, that should tell you everything you need to know. And we have new data that we're going to get to that is very good for Republicans, especially ahead of 2028, but also 2026. And they just keep going. It's just the boom of registrations has not slowed down. You would think since Trump won the election that they would be taking their foot off the gas, but no, they're putting their feet on the gas, which is absolutely huge because it shows that a lot of people are playing for keeps, and it shows that the mood of the country is unchanged since the election. If anything, Donald Trump is making the GOP stronger upon taking office, which he will be doing in approximately 12 days. But first, before I get into some of the numbers, really quickly, I'll tell you guys about my merch store, shop.redeaglepolitics.com, because it is still active. For those who don't know, we have all the same epic great designs. We got t-shirts, coffee mugs. Still, if you guys want Christmas ornaments for next year, you guys can get them. But we got hoodies, crew neck sweatshirts, blankets, posters, candles, and hats. We got everything. We really do. We have 67 5-star reviews. Everybody loves it. Everyone loves the high-quality merchandise. And on top of it, it supports the channel. So check out the merch store. The link will be in the description and pinned comment down below. So I think it's important we look over some of the data that we're seeing. And we'll start off with the state of North Carolina, because there's been a lot of question marks about how North Carolina is really going to end up, because it is a state that was voting, 20, 30 years ago, like solidly Republican, R+15, but it's changed a lot since then. Obama won the state in 2008, but it's kind of been drifting a little bit to the right ever since then, but not too much. It's gone back and forth a little bit, but still, the main thing that remains the same is at the national level, Democrats have not won an election in North Carolina. We're talking about Senate or president all the way back since 2008. Where they won both of those offices. Now, at the state level, they've won the governorship. They've won other statewide offices. They had a strong performance this year, in part due to, weakness on the Republican side at the gubernatorial candidacy. But it didn't really matter. There's no reverse coattails. The state is still moving to the right. And when you look at registration data, you can see it. Now, it's a little bit harder to determine which way the state's going to go in the future, because you do have so many voters who are registered as other that have technically leaned right, but Republicans, they do keep eating into the Democrat numbers there, and there's no real signs of a Democrat surge in registrations, unlike what we saw ahead of an election like 2008. And Republicans in the state, they are only 90,000 below the Democrats. They could overtake them overall, which would at least put them in a very solid position to go out there and win, especially because a lot of those unaffiliated voters, they're not really people that turn out to vote very often, and their low propensity, which should be benefiting us given the way things are going. But you look at this and it's like already, with the book closing before the election, Democrats had 105, 106,000 voter advantage when they ended up losing the state. and they lost the state by almost 200,000 votes. But then you look at it now, already that's been trimmed down to 90,000. Democrats in North Carolina not doing all that well. And if you talk about a potential swing map for 2028, yeah, you would expect Republicans to go out there and hold North Carolina to a certain extent, which would put them out of the gate at 235 electoral votes. We don't really have data from Arizona, but given what we saw this year in the party registration data, Arizona moved to the right vastly, showing no signs of slowing down. If you have both of those states already in your column, that is a massive leg up that you have on Democrats who are looking to go out there and, retake a state like Georgia, which they possibly could just because of what's been going on in the Atlanta metro area. You don't know what 2028 is going to be like. A lot of the counties that shifted left in the country outside of like the Mountain West were actually in suburban Georgia because the southern suburbs of Atlanta grew significantly. A lot of liberals. Trump still ended up winning the state by 120,000 votes or so, but that is a little bit besides the point. We don't have registration data out of Georgia. If we did, it would probably be a little bit better to gauge how the state is really looking as things stand today. But I did want to cover Nevada because that's another swing state where Republicans, they said, oh, they could never win it. It's the white whale. Yeah, not too fast. Donald Trump won the state. Not only did he win it, he won it big. He won it by 46,000 votes. And you could tell because the party registration data significantly was zooming to the right. And a lot of people said, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whatsoever. But it always did. It really did. You can see this here. Democrats had like a 90,000 advantage in 2020, and then Republicans trimmed that down to basically nothing, and they still are trimming it down. You look at this, just 4,000 voters. That's it, 4,000 votes. So you're already seeing a shift. Republicans are about to take the lead, probably never relinquish it. They're probably going to win the midterms there. The attorney general is running for governor, so Republicans could flip that seat, and they probably hold the governor's seat because Lombardo is popular. So you look at this, Nevada, if Nevada is going to be a red state already, the floor, you talked about 219 leading up to this past election. Already, we're looking at 252 out of the gate. And honestly, there's some other data out of other states. Florida does not stop. Republicans since December have gained another 20,000 or so on net. They now lead by, 1.2 million or so. I mean, it's insane what's going on in the state of Florida. No signs of slowing down. This is becoming the Republican California. It's possible by the end of the decade, Florida is redder than California will be bluer. I mean, we saw this. California only voted for Kamala Harris by, 21 points. That's not very good for California. Hillary Clinton was winning it by 30. Joe Biden won it by about that margin. So when you look at this, you're seeing a massive shift to the right. And also in a state like New Jersey even, which again, there's probably more ancestral Democrats in New Jersey. It's kind of harder to gauge. But one thing we do know is that Republicans, they have significantly eaten into the Democrat advantage since 2020. Democrats had a 1.1 million voter advantage. Now Republicans have trimmed that down to under 900,000, which is absolutely huge. And if they can keep trimming that margin down by this upcoming November, there's a very good chance that Republicans could take the governorship because they've already gained enough voters that would have been enough to give them the win in 2021 since then. So if they can keep doing this, yeah, it's very possible that it's going to be harder for Democrats to win. It's just the way it works. And, it is true that certain independents might vote a certain way and turnout matters. And it's not like a, one-to-one correlation. It's true that that margin's going to be trimmed down just by Democrats who were legacy Democrats voting Republican for the first time, but already voted Republican, voting Republican, you name it. But still, New Jersey was a state that was closer than a lot of people anticipated. It was only like 160,000 vote difference between the two. It's possible if Biden stayed in, that Donald Trump would have contested and flipped New Jersey, would have been like the Indiana 2008, but there are signs that could indicate that it's a little bit more than that, and possibly Republicans could end up picking the state off in 2028, or maybe flipping the governorship, or at least making it closer. I think you have to say it could start off as like a toss-up, maybe lean Democrat state, but still, like, that is absolutely huge, because if Republicans did win New Jersey, well, it wouldn't be quite enough to get them to 270 electoral votes. They probably will need a Rust Belt state, but there's very good news. Speaking of Rust Belt states, Pennsylvania, by the end of the year, the calendar year that is, Republicans trimmed down the Democrat advantage significantly, and they trimmed it down to 217. When Trump won the state in 2016, that was actually more of a Democrat advantage than what New Jersey has right now. But you look at what's going on since then, well, 13,000. So that lead has been cut down to about 204,000 voters. And when you look at the active voter registration, it's basically 100,000. So Republicans very well could be on track to flip the registration by even the midterms, depending on what happens, if not by the 2028 election, which should give them a massive leg up, especially because I do think J.D. Vance is somebody that will likely get the nomination, could turn out the Trump base, do very well among independents. He's a good communicator. If he's able to do that against Gavin Newsom or one of these other Democrats, probably not Kamala Harris again, even though she will be tempted to run. But you look at this, the main takeaway is if Republicans can keep fortifying these states as Republican, which they have been doing, they will box the Democrats out in 2028. And that doesn't even take into account the 2030s census map, because Democrats have a massive 2030s problem. You guys can watch my video on that by clicking the card on this video. And that's the way it goes. So Republicans keep on registering voters. The registration boom continues into 2025. We'll see how long it lasts, but it's showing no signs of slowing down. And in some states, it's actually accelerating, which is massive, massive news for the Republicans ahead of 2026 and 2028. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.